One of the most profound quotes I've heard comes from Henry David Thoreau. And he said, the price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Now, this quote opens our eyes to the fact that everything is an exchange of life. In today's video, let's investigate the amount of life that you're paying for the conflicts in your relationship, and then have a look at what you're getting in return. Have you ever thought about that? What are you getting for the price you're paying? Most people I meet just say they're getting more grief. My name is Dadley-Moore, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a regular, welcome back. I appreciate you all. This channel is here to help you improve your communication, better manage your conflicts and disagreements, and reach higher heights in your relationship. Before we start, I've developed a free guide to help you increase your argument IQ. Arguing is a dysfunctional way of managing conflict and disagreements. It really is. It's pointless, it's unnecessary. This guide covers the hidden cause of relationship arguments. Read it and you'll never look at arguing the same again. Okay, the price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Everything in life is an exchange. The easiest example of this is if you go to work and you exchange hours of your life for money. And then you go and exchange that money for goods. Every time we buy anything, food, petrol, clothes, entertainment, we exchange minutes and hours of our lives to enable this. So how many hours of your life do you exchange to feed yourself every week? Or how many hours do you exchange to feed your family? How many minutes or hours of your life did your lunch cost today? The price of anything is the amount of life we pay for it. But time is not the only currency of life though. We can pay physically, emotionally, intellectually, we can pay relationship prices, we can pay spiritual prices too. Now, the day I learned this quote, I was driving home from work and I drove past a man who'd been pulled over by the police and the lights were flashing and I couldn't help but have a sneak peek at the driver as I drove past, and his head was dropped. And he looked dejected. And for the first time ever, I thought to myself, how much life is he going to pay for this? Now, he assumedly got a fine, and that obviously cost some life, some working hours to pay it back. But what else will he pay, I thought? How many minutes or hours of unhappiness will he pay? Or pay with loss of happiness? Will he also pay with relationship difficulties? Will he have an argument with his partner that night? Will it cost him a difficult evening at home? Will he pay with grumpiness and therefore be less present for his kids? Will his body pay in health through being stressed? Will he then lose sleep? How much life will he really pay for that speeding ticket? We all often pay a lot more of our life than we realise, and we can pay an enormous amount for conflict in our relationships. In last week's video on the number one question to transform your relationship conflicts for good, I introduced the two sides of conflict, the two faces, the destructive and the creative. And if you're yet to see this video, the link is in the description below. You can also watch it by clicking on the thumbnail at the end of the video. Now, conflict as we know it can be very destructive. We can pay again in wasted time, in wasted opportunities, stress-related illnesses, loss of sleep. We can pay in anger and fear. We can pay in guilt. We can pay in carrying around shame or grief, or a loss of happiness or intimacy. There can be financial costs. Our work can suffer. We can pay in a change or a loss of relationships with our partners and families. And we also pay in a loss of energy or life force. And this is what I meant earlier when I referred to a spiritual cost. So let me explain this further. We all have a certain amount of energy available to us for our daily life. We have 100% life energy. We then choose where to invest this energy. Now, all of us have a percentage of our life energy taken up in conflicts or unresolved issues from the past, or worrying about the future. Now, that's often definitely a past we can't change, it's done. And a future that in all likelihood is just not going to happen exactly the way we worry. Now, this baggage from the past and the conflicts, and some of us have got massive big semi-trailers that we drag along behind us full of this baggage. Others of us have got small handbags. But whatever energy is tied up in the past or in conflicts or in worries about the future, this is energy that's unavailable for you to use in the present. This then limits your ability to be fully present and available in the present. If you've got 40% of your life energy already tied up, you only have 60% available for today. Even if you've only got 10% in the past, it still means you're not 100% present, you've only got 90% for today. What percentage of your life is invested in conflicts right now? And what percentage is available for you to be fully present today? And what costs are you paying for the conflict in your relationship? What's the exchange? Are you paying with increased stress, more anger, loss of happiness and joy, loss of intimacy and love, reduced energy for your day or for your children, loss of closeness to family and friends, less productivity at work? What are you paying? And where will you be in 6 months or 12 months' time if you continue to choose to pay these costs? What's the likely trajectory of these costs? In your relationship, these costs add up over time and they create like a waxy build-up between you and your partner. And the ongoing costs can be truly massive. Communication can become more difficult. People become less willing to be open and honest. Intimacy can suffer. People then withdraw from each other and their relationship. Trust is damaged. The list of symptoms for the build-up of unresolved conflict is almost limitless. Ultimately, if relationships end in separation, we pay with the loss of the life we've been living and the future we've been dreaming for ourselves. And if we have kids, the future we've been dreaming for them too. Now, hopefully your costs are not that high, but the greater the percentage of your life that's invested in conflict right now, the less energy you have available for the present, and then generally, the higher the costs will be. So it's important to start asking right now, how long are you going to choose to continue paying these costs? And when are you going to choose to flip the conflict coin and find the value and the gains available? What are you getting in return for the price you're paying? Because conflict also has this creative side. As we spoke last week, every conflict has the capacity to teach us unique and important lessons. It can transform our lives. It's an opportunity to free ourselves, to grow, evolve, and learn and become better human beings. The key with conflict is absolutely to minimize your costs and maximize your gains. Now, back to the example from earlier. If I get a speeding ticket, I'm going to make sure I pay only the minimum, not a minute more of my time. With zero physical costs, zero emotional costs, zero intellectual, relationship, or spiritual prices. If I'm in conflict with my partner, I want the three of us, me and her and our relationship, to pay the absolute minimum and to maximize any gains. And to help achieve this, the finger has to point this way. And I come back to the question from last week, what is this conflict asking me to learn, accept, or let go of? So please, as you journey through your week, start to become aware of the exchange in everything, the hidden costs, especially the costs you're paying for the conflict and arguments in your relationship. And then flip the conflict to its creative side and ask, what is this conflict asking me to learn, accept, or let it go of? Where's the gold? And please share this video out to those you love, and maybe even those two you experience conflict with. And if you haven't already, download your free guide to increasing your argument IQ. We just cannot choose whether we're going to experience conflicts. We can't. We can only choose how we behave and whether we pay the heavy costs of their destructive side or we invest in learning from them, evolving, and becoming better human beings. Have a great week and be kind to yourself out there.